and welcome to Geek History Lesson. I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson.
And I'm Jason Pixie Boots Inman. Welcome to your Mind University, because Geek History Lesson is the podcast that teaches you about characters and constructs from all types of pop culture. And sometimes we do two-part episodes because this is part 2 of our Teen Titans lesson. That's right. Last week, we conquered basically the everything of the original Teen Titans. Let's do a quick recatch up. Basically, what do you think are the basic events that they need to know before they enter into this lesson?
So Teen Titans #1 drops in 1965. It is Robin, Kid Flash, Aqualad, and Donna Troy. They have a bunch of really silly Silver Age adventures and have no overarching continuity. It is relaunched in 1970 in the classic The New Teen Titans adventure, written by Marv Wolfman, drawn by
This is 1980, right?
Yes.
You said 1970. Sorry.
Whoops, 1980.
Yep.
A decade later.
This is why we do the reclarification. It's all good. It's all good.
Drawn by George Perez. These are the adventures that you think of when you think of the Teen Titans. This is Trigun the Terrible. This is Deathstroke. This is the Judas Contract.
This is Cyborg.
This is Evil Terror. This is the introduction of Cyborg, Raven, Starfire, and Beast Boy. We then talk about the Teen Titans a little bit, and all of them feeling a little too old to be teenagers and their skivvies anymore.
And
the
then,
introduction of Tim Drake.
0 Hour happens.
0 Hour happens. Nightwing leads the team, and we're butting right up against the whole new Teen Titans.
And we're sitting pretty in the year of 1995.
Yes.
Now, of course, we're not going to be doing a meet cute or a
10 cent origin,
because we did those in part 1. If you want to go listen, by the way, if you haven't listened to part 1 of Teen Titans, you're going to be missing a lot of references that we're going to be making in this lesson. So you might want to go back and listen to it. We'll sit here and wait. Okay, you're back. Great. Glad to have you on board. Welcome back to the Titans Tower. So let's jump into the next part of the Teen Titans, 1995. I don't know why I said that weird like that. 95.
It is 1995, and this episode is, of course, still brought to you by John Barbary, Ray Vitale, Kyle Rayner, not his real name, Andy Hash, Cade, Ivan McClellan, The Tamar, Cameron Miller, Jonathan Adkins, and Alexis N. Bowen. Thank you so much for requesting this. You all have wonderful, wonderful taste in this world.
Yes.
So we are going to, like Jason said, pick right back up where our last lesson left
in the year 1995.
Well, we're actually gonna skip forward from that even a little bit to
damn it.
October of 1996.
Oh,
the series was canceled in 95.
Oh, okay.
But in 1996 in October, Dan Jurgens, legendary Superman writer and artist, BFF of Jason Inman on the con scene, relaunched the Teen Titans.
I'm not good enough for him, but sure.
Relaunched the Teen Titans with a #1 issue. And like his time with the various Superman titles, he served as both the writer and the artist. And again, we talked a lot about George Perez and Marv Wolfman's contributions to this. It is a monumental effort to draw and write a book at the same time. So just take a little moment and appreciate what a true badass Mr. Dan Jurgens is. In the new Teen Titans, artist George Perez inked the first 15 issues over Dan Jurgens' pencils. Fun fact, because...
Now, this is just called Teen Titans. You just called it New Teen Titans.
No, I said New Teen Titans artist George Perez.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Inked over the first... But yes,
there's so many titles of Teen Titans in them.
I know, and they don't use the adjectives the way the X-Men do.
This is just Teen Titans.
Just Teen Titans.
Great.
The Just Teen Titans. The series ran for 24 issues, which is not unimpressive, and was led by the Atom, Ray Palmer, who you may recognize from Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow. However, he had been de-aged into a teenager at this time, and it was kind of weird.
Yeah, 0 Hour de-aged Ray Palmer, too. So now he was a teenager, and he couldn't really remember his past life.
Yeah. Although when it's convenient, he has a very specific set of scientific skills that will come up, and mechanical abilities.
I can remember reading the article about that in Wizard Magazine. They gave him what I like to call the action vest. So it was the Atom costume, except he got like a red vest, and then they did the thing like the Kid Flash where they cut off the top of his head so his hair came out.
Yes.
I liked this idea because up until this point, I didn't give a damn about the Atom, and making him young and like being told about how awesome he was when he couldn't remember it, I thought was an interesting idea. He did show up in a couple Superman titles. This is when Superman was electric at the time, had electric powers, and he showed up at the time, and I actually enjoyed this version of Ray Palmer. Like you said, the problem with it is that other writers were not as consistent with it as Mr. Jurgens was, and so some other writers just wrote him as normal Ray Palmer, even though he looked like a teenager.
Yeah, and I think it's a really interesting way to introduce the idea of a legacy character without having to actually be a legacy character, because he's living up to his own previous reputation. And he is joined by an entirely original new team of teenies, including Prism, Johto, Risk, and Argent. And if you, dear listener, have never heard of these characters before, don't worry about it too much, because outside of this run, DC creators have not used them.
Which is sad, because I actually think they're all great characters.
They are all great characters. They are all, I think, prime. I think we said this in the last episode. They're prime to have a really cool story told about them inside or outside of the Titans as a framework. So now, if you work for DC Comics, you call me and Jason and we'll do this for you.
Now, I will say that Prism has been seen in a couple other places. She was seen in the Justice League Crisis on Two Earths animated movie.
You're right.
And Prism and Argent both appeared in Grant Morrison's JLA run.
They did. But this, if you're going to look at their overall, these four characters' overall contribution to DC Comics history, this team, these 24 issues are, I would say, their most punch my mic, and seminal appearances.
And we chatted off Mike a little bit about this, but we'll say it to the listeners. I have heard from later interviews where Dan Jurgens has talked about that when they offered the book to him, he wanted to reunite the team, the original team, like Cyborg and Beast Boy. But the DC editorial team at the time didn't want that, didn't think the book would sell.
They wanted new characters for a new generation of readers.
Yes, and so that's the reason they had him create brand new characters.
Yes. It did not sell as well as some of the previous Teen Titans titles, so Roy Harper as Arsenal reappears about halfway through the series, and he's not the leader, but he's kind of their mentor.
Oh, you think they did it as a sales bump kind of thing?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Offering advice where Ray Palmer kind of falls short in a leadership role. I say that I think it's a sales bump move because,
but who knows?
Because like I said, the numbers were not as high as the new Teen Titans throughout the 80s, and for me, if you're going to pick any of the original or some of the new Teen Titans to bring back, Roy Harper is not exactly who I would have chosen to stick in that mentor role, but he probably didn't have a ton to do in books outside at the time. He's probably the easiest one to bring in.
He probably wasn't appearing, in very many titles.
Yeah.
Because at the time of this book, I don't know where Cyborg would have been. I think Cyborg, Raven, Starfire, who knows? But Nightwing was deep in his solo series by now.
Yes, he was. So sales of the title dropped off even after Roy arrived. So DC held a contest in the letters columns where fans could vote in who they wanted to join the team.
Oh, cool.
It is a cool idea. Tim Drake Robin won. Of course. But Batman editors banned his appearance and the use of any Bat characters on the team, and Dan Jurgens was forced to include Captain Marvel Jr. instead, which failed to boost any sales.
Oh.
So I think it's really interesting.
What the hell, Bat editors?
I know. I feel like Dan Jurgens, twice in a row, was like, I know exactly what to do to make this title interesting and relevant, and kind of got smacked down for it.
Wow. Okay, let's stop here before, on your lesson real quick.
Sure.
Let's think about this. What a different world, what a different DC Comics universe it would have been if Tim Drake had joined that team. It might have
96,
might have saved the book.
It might have. It might have gone on. It might still be running.
Because Tim Drake's solo series
was huge
and sold well into the 2000s. Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, cool.
But I feel like this is me extrapolating. This is me talking out of turn. This is pure speculation. I feel like the Batman and the Superman editors definitely have the most sway, and I feel like they work the hardest to keep their characters contained, just because they're the two flagship characters of the DCU.
They're the heavyweights. Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And in this case, I think maybe they made a bad decision.
Okay.
And sadly, the series was canceled in 1998 after 24 issues.
Oh, okay.
And now again, 24 issues is not unimpressive.
And also, nothing impressive happened in many other adventures.
No. I mean,
I've never read this run. So.
I've read it. I've read pieces of it. It is solid. But for me, it's not as compelling as the new Teen Titans or some of the later stuff that comes along. If you're interested in these different characters, if you're interested in seeing a really completely new take on the Titans, which kind of doesn't happen anywhere else, it's a lot of rehashing. Remember when we talked about Trigon? This is a really great place to jump in, and you can find they're available. Those issues are very accessible. But a mere year later, in 1999, the Titans, because they aren't teens anymore and haven't been for like a decade, decade, returned in a title called JLA/Titans: The Technis Imperative, written by the fabulous Devin Grayson.
Yep.
And it features almost every member of the Teen Titans that has ever had. Most of them do go missing early on in the issue in a plot point. It returns Cyborg to being a full-time team member. And when the returning Titans investigate the disappearances of their former members, they discover that they must take up arms against their former mentors. So it's Nightwing fights Batman, and Wonder Girl fights Wonder Woman. It is a great book. And if you want to see these characters cross over in a way that's not just the Justice League being like, hey, kids, step in line. It's a really... Well, because that's what a lot of it is.
Step in line, you kids.
The kids will, the Teen Titans will do something, and then every once in a while, a Justice Leaguer gets kind of out of shape about their behavior and shows up and is like, "Hey, you don't get off my lawn."
It's usually Superman or Batman.
It is always Superman or Batman. Even Jeff Johns does this during his first arc. He has the entire Justice League show up and be like, "Yo, guys, you got to calm down," and then Nightwing has to show up and be like, "Guys, it'll be okay." It's a really good scene.
I've been on both teams. It's okay.
I am the Peacemaker. I am the sexiest person in this universe. Y'all can listen to me. So JLA Titans Technis Imperative leads directly into Titans, written by the fabulous Devin Grayson, launching with a #1 in March of 1999. Now, I remember this series launching because by this time I had figured out that comics were still being published. And I was like, but I know the Teen Titans. What are these Titans?
Well,
for me, it seems like a huge logic leap.
There's also an interesting thing that happened when this book was launched.
Please?
This was the time that Wally West was on 2 teams.
Yes, we're gonna talk about it.
And that I remember being a story point. Grant Morrison made that a story point in his JLA run.
Yeah, and he actually sets the precedent for a couple other characters to do that as well.
Because Wally West is also on the JLA. I'm sorry, I didn't clarify that.
That's okay. The new team is a mishmash of a bunch of the previous teens and featured Nightwing, Troya, who is Donner Troy, but with a different name, Arsenal, Tempest, Flash, who was on the JLA at the time, Starfire, Cyborg, Changeling, Damage, Argent, and Jesse Quick joining the team about halfway through the series.
And real quick, we should explain that Tempest is actually Aqualad.
Yes,
because that's his grown-up name.
He's adult, much more muscular Aqualad. So you basically have your original cast of Titans. You have a couple of the new Teen Titans characters, and then you get a couple from the Dan Jurgens run. I think this is a really fascinating team because even though they're all moving on the same continuity timeline, you get to see a bunch of different eras of Titans history all working together.
And it does the thing too that the 90s DC comics did these interesting thing with Dan Jurgens' Titans run, and then 90s DC created a lot of great young legacy characters.
Yes, they did.
And I'm talking about even more than Connor Hawke and Kyle Rayner. I'm talking about, you brought up Damage, who is directly related to Al Pratt, the original Atom from the Justice Society.
Yes, he is.
Also, there's another great character. He's very similar. The Ray is a very, DC has a lot of those characters, so I'm happy that Damage got onto this team.
He did. He's a character that I'm surprised hasn't been brought back into the Teen Titans fray.
Yeah, and he has a great, by the way, his 90s solo series mostly holds up. It's a great,
really?
It's a great series.
Oh, I've never read that. I'm gonna go read that now. So again, DC Comics, you want us to write Damage, you just let us know. Yep. This is the first and only Teen Titans team that Jesse Quick does appear on. I really like her in this story, and I think it's super weird that they have like a grown-up Flash and Jesse Quick on the same team.
Yeah, a little weird, right?
It's mostly because when Wally has to be off doing JLA stuff, they can have Jesse step in, but there are adventures and there are moments where they are running tandem, and it feels like overkill.
That's fine.
It's like when you have Nightwing and Robin on the team, you're like, we really only need one.
We only need one. Got it.
They're both cool, but... And then this series goes on to run for 50 issues, which is pretty amazing.
It's a good run.
And it ends in 2002. At the time, it ran concurrently to the Young Justice title.
By Peter David and Todd the Nut.
Yes, which features some of the younger legacy characters that we've been talking about. It has Tim Drake, it has Con-El, it has Bart Allen, Impulse, all the characters who are basically going to inherit the Teen Titans title in about 4 years publication time.
And the interesting thing about it is that the reason why they called that title Young Justice is because they didn't think a title that said Teen Titans could sell.
They thought it was, I actually read a little interview about that, and they thought it sounded really like Silver Agey and hinky. And that's why Brave and the Bold was not running at this time, because all the alliterative titles kind of got knocked out right around the early aughts when we were doing cool Xbox things.
But Young Justice is a good title as well. Like, I think it's a great little like qualifier as well.
I think Young Justice is a great title, especially if you have a Justice League, because Justice League is basically never going to go out of print.
No.
But for me, because Teen Titans has been around since the 60s, it carries a certain amount of weight and respect, even if it is a silly alliteration. And like you're like, yeah, oh, Teen Titans.
Would you ever be against, like, say, if they ever decided to combine and it was like Young Justice : the Teen Titans?
No, I think that'd be cool. I could live with if they totally rebranded it as Young Justice.
Yeah.
But Teen Titans will always hold a place in my heart.
Got it.
Yeah. So these two teams of legacy characters crossed over in Titans / Young Justice : Graduation Day, which is super great. I didn't know if you were doing that or the Green Day song. And it launched both. No, don't stop. Another Teen Titans series and another Outsiders series. One of Jason's favorite teams of all time. Just do a couple of minutes. Graduation Day is also the storyline that kills both Donna Troy and Lilith.
Oh, Danny boy. Oh. Because we killed the fives.
Shouldn't it be like Oh, Donna Girl?
Oh, yeah.
Or Donna Troy.
Oh, Donna Troy. Your origin is so confused. That's why you were killed.
Yeah, she'll be.
All right, we'll stop. People out there right now are so mad at me for interrupting, but I kind of like that. Since you're in the Teen Titans history that I know, I can qualify. By the way,
please do contribute.
The Graduation Day storyline of Young Justice and Titans, great storyline.
Yes, very self-contained,
and really helps set up what is going to happen.
In 2003,
exactly, to the new Teen Titans team and another one of my favorite teams, Nightwing's Outsiders.
Yes, the two series that
which we're eventually going to do an Outsiders lesson. I can tell you that.
You will do it. And Lilith is a character who we've talked about a little bit. She's very much like a tertiary Teen Titans member. She's a psychic who sort of fills the role of Raven when Raven's not around. But the reason that I'm going to mention her here is because she is featured on the DC Rebirth Titans team. So if you don't know anything about her, she does have a place in Teen Titans history.
Yep. So you mentioned her last week too.
I did, but I just wanted to. I think this is the last time we're going to talk about her. So I wanted
Titans
to.
Times,
yeah. So I wanted to sort of cap it off.
Got it.
So then, president of DC, Jeff Johns, takes over on Teen Titans in 2003, and his team was designed to reflect the popular Teen Titans cartoon that had launched earlier that year. So Dan DiDio was basically like, well, this is doing pretty good. Why don't we bring all these characters onto a book?
Smart idea.
It is a totally smart idea, and it kind of baffles me that there's not a title that immediately reflects that there's a Teen Titans Go tie-in title. Yeah. But the Teen Titans and the Titans comic are more mired in comics continuity right now than cartoon continuity.
Okay, so you're surprised that they're not like a Teen Titans cartoon that like directly reflects the Teen Titans Go.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just I'm surprised because they did make this decision initially. And the team is made up of a leader in Tim Drake Robin, Connor Kent Superboy, Cassie Sandsmark Wonder Girl, Bart Allen Impulse, and they are mentored by classic Teen Titans characters Starfire, Cyborg, and Beast Boy. And he is called Beast Boy here, even though he's like 19.
Now let's go through and briefly explain a little bit about who these new team members are.
Sure.
Okay, Tim Drake.
Tim Drake is the third and best of all potential Robins.
Yes, he is the Robin after Jason Todd.
After Jason Todd dies, yes.
Then we have the new Wonder Girl, Cassie.
Cassie Sandsmark.
Who was a friend of Wonder Woman's during the John Byrne Wonder Woman run. Eventually, first wore a black wig, then wore a blonde.
She's just blonde?
She's just blonde.
Yeah.
She wore a wig to hide her blonde hair, and then she got rid of that.
Let's not talk about Superboy's secret origin, because that's a plot point we're going to bring up.
Well, all I was going to say is that Superboy, this is the Superboy that was introduced in the reign of Superman, that he was a replacement Superman in the 90s, named Con-El. Then we have Impulse, Bart Allen.
Yep, Barry Allen's grandson or great-grandson?
Barry Allen's grandson from the future.
From the future, who comes back. So
and then all the rest of them are there.
All the rest of them are the people that we've been talking about this whole time. And during the initial story arc, Raven returns. She is brought back to life by Brother Blood, Jason's very favorite of all demonic cults. And she returns to the the team, having been reborn into a new teenage body. So she looks all young and Teen Titans-y, but she obviously has a much older internal life, I guess we'll call it.
By the way, we should also give mad kudos that this entire run is drawn by Mike McCone, who is a brilliant, brilliant artist. And in the artwork, you've seen these covers. Even if you don't think you've ever read this book,
you've seen the art.
Because the first 7 issues are each of the singular Titans.
Yeah.
And you've seen this art.
Yeah, it's amazing. Jericho also returns, although he is non-corporeal and resides inside his father, Slade Wilson's mind. There is a really cool scene and a very important plot point where they come and meet up with the Titans, and Jericho's jumping in between everybody's bodies. And the classic Titans, your Starfire, your Cyborg, your Beast Boy, they know what's happening, and Raven is trying to catch him in her black spirit form in order to trap him because nobody else can control him. It's a really, really great scene, and they take away the mutton chops. God bless you.
Have we already gotten to the reveal of what happens to Mr. Bart Allen?
No.
Okay.
But during this series, Bart Allen decides to rebrand himself from Impulse to Kid Flash. And this move drew a lot of criticism from fans of the Young Justice series who didn't like that Jeff Johns was doing such a strong shift in the characters' personalities. So Bart Allen in particular is a joker. He's one of the youngest members. He's super silly. And by making him Kid Flash, I actually really like this moment.
I do too.
Because it feels like he is deciding to live up to this amazing legacy of speedsters that he is descended from. And it really feels like a move that you would make when you're like 14 years old and you decide like, this is what I want to, this is the person I want to be.
I'm tired of being a kid.
Yeah. And because the beginning of this story and the team is born out of tragedy, out of these characters' deaths, Tim is really angry and Connor's really angry. And so there was a lot of criticism of the fact that they're like, oh, these teenagers can't be angsty. Superheroes don't cry, which I think is so interesting because I read this as it was coming out. And like I said, I really liked it. And I didn't hear any criticism until doing research or reading some reviews for this lesson. So there you go. Bart Allen grows up and becomes Kid Flash. This Teen Titans series also retcons Superboy's origins and reveals that Kon-El is a hybrid clone from the DNA of both Clark Kent and Lex Luthor, grown inside a Cadmus lab. Dun, dun, dun. And this goes on to be a really big point for Connor because he struggles between, am I going to be the good guy or am I going to be the bad guy? And every time he does something that is questioned or that is viewed as not wholly pure, he tries to blame it on his Lex Luthor DNA and the nature versus nurture argument. And Tim comes up to him a lot and is like, hey, snap out of it and own your decisions. Just be a good guy. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
And then the series leads up to a DC event called Infinite Crisis. Jason, 3 sentences or less. What is Infinite Crisis?
Remember Crisis on Infinite Earths?
Yeah.
Where the Anti-Monitor ate all the universes? Mm-hmm. Well, he didn't eat it all. Because there's a Superboy Prime, an old Superman, an old Lois, and a young Lex Luthor are like, we're going to bring back our Earth. And so they punch holes in the universe to bring back their Earth.
And the Teen Titans crossover with the Outsiders, the two teams coming together again in a story called The Return of Donna Troy.
Oh, I'm surprised. Oh, which happens during Infinite Crisis.
Yes, it does. Mm-hmm. Which is exactly what it sounds like.
She comes back.
She comes back to life. It's pretty cool.
And she reunites with, as we talked about in the previous part 1, Kyle Rayner.
Yes, with her Green Lantern boyfriend.
Yep.
I think it's interesting because to me, Donna Troy, in some respects, is sort of like your Gwen Stacy character. Her defining stories are the ones where she dies.
She's died so many times.
She's died like 6 times, like Jean Grey. But everybody always clamors to have her come back. But then they have her back for a bit and they just kill her again.
Yeah.
Although, like I said, I do like Donna Troy a lot. It is also during this miniseries that Connor and Cassie begin a romantic relationship until Connor is tragically killed by his evil doppelganger, Superboy Prime.
Yes.
And this is when Tim Drake also gets his costume change. And
after Infinite Crisis.
After Infinite Crisis. But inspired by this event, he decides to drop the green from his costume in an homage to Connor's black and red color scheme.
You know in what series that happens in?
No.
52.
Oh, they're Jason's all-time favorite weekly series.
Yep, the very scene where Tim Drake talks about that, because another hero sees him, I can't remember, and asks him about the change, and he's like, oh, it's meant to honor Connor. Now, again, Infinite Crisis is very interesting because so Con-El dies against Superboy Prime. Superboy Prime was this Superboy, the crazy evil Superboy from another Earth. It's supposed to be our Earth, but we'll just ignore that. And he dies saving Nightwing's life.
He does.
And because the original impetus of the storyline was that Nightwing was going to die.
Yeah.
And then they changed it at the last minute.
Nightwing is always the one who's going to die and then doesn't die.
Because you can't.
You can't. He's the best.
Yep. You cannot kill the original Robin.
Yeah. So following Infinite Crisis, the Titans, the Teen Titans, everyone who has ever been in the Titans are in a lot of chaos. Cassie tries to reconnect with Tim in order to talk about their grief and move forward. He wants nothing to do with it because he's like a 15-year-old dude. Cassie quits to join a... Look, 15-year-old dudes, I know you don't have feelings. It's okay. So she quits the Titans.
I just want to apologize to all our 15-year-old dudes. You do have feelings. Yeah.
You can hit me up on Twitter. It'll be fine. Cassie quits the team to join a cult that she believes will resurrect Connor and bring him back to her.
That is during 52.
Yes. Robin, Tim Drake takes a leave of absence to travel the world with Batman and Nightwing and redefine his place as a hero and a leader.
Also in 52.
Beast Boy and Raven are left in charge of the team and have an open call for new recruits.
Also in 52.
Some of those new recruits who join the team are...
I don't remember.
Not so smart after all.
There's a Russian guy.
There is Miss Martian.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're finally past 52. Okay.
But all these characters do appear in 52 during an audition scene.
They do, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Miss Martian, let me get like a... is this where Cassandra Cain was part of the Teen Titans?
No.
Okay, all right, I'm going to keep going. Hold on. Who's the Kid Devil guy?
Kid Devil?
Kid Devil.
Who's that Nightcrawler guy?
Ravager.
Yep.
Who is the daughter of Slade Wilson.
She's cool. Rose.
There is a Russian dude with a green shirt. Like, there's a Russian kid. I don't know. That's it.
Zachary Zatara.
Yeah, I forgot about him.
Bombshell, who turns out to be have the same character arc as Evil Terra from the new Teen Titans.
Yep.
Young Frankenstein.
Okay.
Good Terra. Terra 2, Terra Clone, and cool. Osiris.
Oh, okay.
That is the newest team of Teen Titans.
I thought there was a Russian kid.
I think you're mistaking it for JLI. Osiris doesn't stay on the team very long because he gets on Amanda Waller's bad side and is forced to quit the team not long after joining up. And that's pretty much the last you ever see of him in the DCU.
All right.
These Titans get into a war with Black Adam and Intergang that results in Black Adam taking over the world for a little bit.
Yep.
And during a bloody battle against the two of them, Terra 2, the good clone Terra, and young Frankenstein die.
Aww.
She's holding a copy of that Mel Brooks movie and she's ripped asunder. It's tragic. He's young Frankenstein. See what I did there?
Yeah.
I know, the joke's not funny if you have to explain it, Harley.
Yep.
And Beast Boy is so stricken by these events that he quits the team to join the Doom Patrol again.
Yeah, that's right.
So Beast Boy kind of does this thing that Hawkeye does, and you may remember from that lesson where he's a Titan for a bit, and he quits and goes to the Doom Patrol, and he's a Doom Patroller for a bit, and he quits and goes to the Titans, and he quits for a bit, and then he gets de-aged, and they won't let him back on the Titans, so he goes to the Doom Patrol. It's very strange to me that there are two teams that want a little green boy running around. And Raven also takes a leave of absence with Bumblebee and Harold in order to track down Jericho and purge him for the world. Because ever since he first reappeared, she'll get him for a little bit, and then he'll escape. And so they're like, you know what? We're just going to take your soul self, and we're just going to... You're done. We're just going to murderize you. Robin and Cassie eventually rejoin the Teen Titans and relocate the team to San Francisco because that's what you should do when you're not over grieving your friend's death and the team really needs to be put back together.
That is actually a mistake. The team was relocated to San Francisco at the beginning of Jeff Johns' run.
Oh.
Yeah. Now,
sorry.
I know. What I think you're mistaking is if you're going to be talking about Titans East here very quickly.
I am going to be talking about Titans
East. That's what you're getting. That's what you're mixing up.
Oh, because they go and open Titans East.
Yeah, there's going to open Titans East. Jeff Johns, he moved Titans Tower to San Francisco
from the East River,
like issue 1.
I'm sorry.
No worries.
I'm not good at American geography.
So now let's talk about Titans East.
So yes, in Jeff Johns' final arc, as Jason has alluded to, the villainous Titans East is is introduced. It's not super villainous, but it is led by Deathstroke and Cassandra Cain Batgirl.
I got that one right.
And really, that's all you need to know about it. Titans East does not last that long and is not that interesting. So, yeah, which is, I think, is a real bummer because while I hate the idea that Deathstroke gets to be on a Teen Titans team, I think Cassandra Cain is a really excellent addition to any team. And I think right now, because I feel like Cassandra Cain is perpetually lost in the DC universe. I think she could be a really interesting addition to either Titans or Teen Titans in whatever identity she's going to be wielding.
Because Titans East was the start of Cassandra Cain, the second Batgirl, being evil.
Yes, it was. They made her a bad guy for a bit, and then she wasn't a bad guy for a bit, and it was sort of unfortunate.
Yep.
And then an event called Countdown happens. Jason, what is Countdown?
Countdown is a totally forgettable weekly series that leads into Final Crisis. That's all you need to know.
Right. And the important thing that happens during Countdown is that Bart Allen and Duella Dent are killed.
Yep.
Cyborg quits the Titans team. Supergirl and Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle are invited to join it. However, they eventually leave to join the JLA and JLI, respectively. Bart Allen's death, for me, is a very, very sad death.
Now, this is a little weird because for me, this Bart Allen death is not really part of Teen Titans history because this is the Bart Allen that during Infinite Crisis, Bart Allen ran so fast against Superboy Prime that he got like stuck in the Speed Force, and when he came back, he was like aged up to like 25,
and he was the Flash,
and he became the Flash because Wally West was lost to the Speed Force, and he's killed when he is the Flash.
Yes, the reason I wanted to bring it up here,
sure.
Because you're right, this is not the Teen Titans Bart Allen, but it's kind of the last time you ever see him.
No.
So, but I mean, interacting with these characters.
Oh, no.
So,
not at all. He'll interact again. We'll get to it.
Okay.
We'll get to it after the countdown. Okay.
The remaining Teen Titans go on there to fight their future selves in a really dumb story, and nothing else really important happens until Batman R.I.P. So during Batman R.I.P., which, as you would imagine, is the death of Bruce Wayne, Robin leaves Cassie in charge of the team, and a new Teen Titans are founded. With Cassie Sandsmark Wonder Girl leading, Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle, Red Devil, who was powerless at the time, don't worry about it, Kid Eternity, Static, a new Aqua Girl, Miss Martian, and a reformed Bombshell. So they basically did the Terra arc with her, and then they reformed her because they never reformed Terra. So they were like, we'll do it with Bombshell. Blackest Night rolls around.
Well, before we get to Blackest Night, let's mention the story that happens at the exact same time as Batman R.I.P., and that is Final Crisis, because Final Crisis has a storyline that is called the Legion of Three Worlds. And during the Legion of Three Worlds, they resurrect Con-El Superboy.
Yes, they do.
Because you find out that the DNA has been like setting and gestating for like 1,000. And then Brainiac 5 uses a lightning rod and reanimates Kid Flash Bart Allen, teenager Bart Allen.
Oh, that's right. And I forgot about that.
Yeah, and he brings them back to present day, and they both rejoin the Teen Titans
in a super weird move.
Because as you're talking about, after Batman R.I.P., and I'm going to jump in a little bit. Okay. Tim Drake he takes on the identity of Red Robin.
Yes,
and you see some issues in that where Con-El, like he's just returned to life, and he's like, "What are you doing? Why aren't you with the Titans?" Blah, blah, blah. And Bart Allen does the same thing.
Yes, they do. And we're going to talk a little bit more about Red Robin as we go along. But so Blackest Night rolls around. Basically, there's a Black Lantern Corps. They raise zombies from the dead. Several dead Teen Titans are revived as members of the Corps in order to fight their former teammates. Including Terra. Ravager and Jericho get in a pretty cool fight with their father, Slade Wilson, during the storyline. But that's kind of the most important thing that happens in Blackest Night. The Teen Titans aren't a huge part of it, but that fight is really worth checking out. Most of the contemporary Teen Titans kind of go downhill after this in strange character choices. It is revealed that Cassie has behaved abusively towards her less powerful teammates and that they've reported her to some of their like adult characters that they're in touch with.
Weird. Okay.
I hate this.
Okay. This is all still pre-New 52 as well.
This is all pre-New 52. Yes. Believe me.
Okay.
Kid Devil is killed in battle and never seen again. Kid Eternity is kidnapped by the Calculator and beaten to death in a scene that kind of recalls the Death in the Family Jason Todd Joker arc. And then the next big thing that happens to the Teen Titans is in issue 89 when Damian Wayne, who by then is Robin, officially joins the team.
I have read this issue.
Yeah.
I actually really like it.
Get out of here.
I do. I actually really like this issue because Damian spends the entire issue trying to tell Cassie Wonder Girl how to lead the team.
Yeah.
And then she ignores him. And then what he said was right.
Yeah.
And so he actually saves the team, but then he does something else. And I think Red Robin at the very end saves his butt.
Yes. I remember reading this and being like, I wish she'd push him out a window. In January of 2011, Wonder Girl gets an eponymous one-shot that undoes a lot of her previously mentioned bad behavior. So in less than 2 years, she's no longer someone who beats people for disagreeing with her.
All right.
And a move that I feel like is a very good one. She then crosses back into the Teen Titans series when it crosses over with Tim Drake's Red Robin solo title. So Tim is no longer leading the Teen Titans at this time. It's kind of up in the air about who's going to take over. It winds up being Damian, of course, because Robin will always lead the Teen Titans. But Red Robin comes and goes, and every time he shows up in the Teen Titans title, Cassie kind of shows up, not along with him, but because they're the characters, I guess, that relate to each other the most, so they're like, why not? Mm-hmm. And when Tim asks for help tracking down the Calculator, that guy again, who has kidnapped his friend and the daughter of Lucius Fox, Tam Fox, the Titans reunite to help him. Mm-hmm. And then he decides to join the team because he was like, oh, this was fun and I kind of missed this. And Damian Wayne quits in a reaction.
Yep.
It's actually, as someone who's not a huge fan of Damian Wayne, it's a very funny move. And I think the moments that I like most for Damian are the ones where he really feels like a kid. And for me, this is like, oh, you let my big brother play? I'm not playing anymore.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
He comes right back, but it's cute. It's very cute.
As a Damian Wayne defender, and Damian Wayne is a Teen Titan, I do say that Damian Wayne's best moments are when he interacts with other Robins.
Yes, I would agree with that wholeheartedly. This series of the Teen Titans ends at issue 100, very impressive, in which most of the former Teen Titans return to fight Superboy Prime together. And during this whole time, so this run from about 2008 to 2011, there's a second series that has been going on called Titans.
Yes.
They run concurrently to each other. We're going to talk about that a little bit. It was launched in April of 2008 and written by Judd Winnick with art by Ian Churchill, inked by Norm Rapmund, and later taken over by Joe Benitez, and Victor Llamas. The opening arc reveals that Cyborg did not actually die following the events at Titans East, because that's how that story culminates, that we talked about a couple minutes ago. And he refound the Titans, and his team's new roster includes Nightwing, Wally West, Donna Troy, Beast Boy, Raven, Red Arrow, and Starfire. And Flash and Red Arrow at the time are also JLA members. Yep. So Wally basically set the precedent for this, and then Roy was like, I demand the same level of respect.
This is a good run too, with great art.
It is. And they kind of go in and out in accordance with how the events are going over at JLA. And keeping with tradition, they fight Trigon in the first arc as well.
Yes, they do.
The twist being that Raven is no longer his only human child. It is revealed that Raven has 3 half-brothers named Jacob, Jared, and Jesse, and they are preparing to take over the world for Trigon to come and rule. They're dumb.
Yep.
And it's a dumb conceit, and it's a thing that sometimes happens in storytelling where you create a female character and you give her a defining trait, and then you're like, oh, but she should have a secret brother. And I really... Like I said, I don't mind the fact that we keep hashing this Trigon thing if you can do something interesting with it, but by giving her more siblings, I was like, it's kind of not a great choice. The Titans defeat Trigon, of course, and they all have interpersonal relationship problems as a result. Starfire and Nightwing, who had been dating at the beginning of the run, break up again. Raven and Beast Boy go on one date, and Raven expresses fear that she is turning into her father, so she breaks up with him or never goes out with Beast Boy again. She ghosts him, basically.
Okay, cool.
She does not give in to her familial influences and eventually takes her brothers to Azarath and traps them there, but thereby trapping herself at the same time. But the Titans are able to use the gemstone that you traditionally see drawn on her forehead in order to save her from her father and bring her back to Earth. Following this, Jericho arrives and fights the Titans, and when they defeat him, again, Nightwing resigns his leadership from the team, no longer wanting to have to do battle with his friends. Cyborg, Starfire, and Donna Troy pursue membership with the Justice League of America following the events of Brightest Day. And Roy quits the team in order to move out and look after his daughter, Leanne. Okay, now we have to kind of pause and talk about New Titans Games, which is a prestige format special standalone arc that Wolfman and Perez were going to work on, the original creative team from the New Teen Titans last episode.
Okay.
So even after they left that...
The 80s run.
Mm-hmm. Even after they left that title and they went to work on other things, they kept working on games privately. And in the early 2000s, they approached DC about publishing it as a special event, and it was eventually published in 2011. The thing you need to know about New Titans Games is that it is absolutely awful.
Yep.
You are going to want to pick it up because it is this creative team. Don't do it. They fight a bad guy named King Faraday who forces the New Titans to go after a mysterious mastermind who is kidnapping former teammates and making them play games and sacrifice their lives. Faraday is eventually killed during the events of the story. Cyborg's girlfriend Sarah is grievously injured, and a terrible character that they introduced to get in touch with the kids named Danny Chase is maimed and basically never seen again. These events are so far out of continuity with the Teen Titans of the time that it was when it was conceived, or even like in the present day continuity, that Games basically has to be an Elseworlds tale because it can't fit into any continuity then or now. So, it's terrible
because I remember this had been hinted for years.
It was rumored for a long time.
That they had like sort of an unfinished tale or something like that. And then when it finally released as a graphic novel, it just totally disappointed.
But also, when you think about it, like when it's relegated to being an Elseworlds tale, not only is it bad, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like it's bad, but you need to read it or you'll learn something. So, like, I just wanted to talk about it because it came out, but it's bad.
Cool.
But you know what will keep things from being bad? Your support of Professor Jason and Professor Ashley's Geek History Lesson over at patreon.com/Jawiin, Jawiin. Go over there and throw some support our way. You can get Geek History Lesson a day early and astound your friends at a cocktail party with your Teen Titans knowledge. Or you can get our extra podcast, the Geek History Lesson Extra, where this week we are talking about which Teen Titans team could beat all the others. So thank you so much to everyone who donated. You are the best and we love you. You help us keep our lights on here at the Mind University's Titan Towers. And now back to Teen Titans. So the Teen Titans get like one more arc that's kind of meaningless and they have to wrap up in time for the New 52. Jason, what is the New 52?
The New 52 was the 2011 reboot of the DC Universe where all the heroes except for Batman and Green Lantern started at ground zero.
That is true. So Teen Titans #1 is published in November of 2011, written by Scott Lobdell and drawn by Brett Booth. It is a good-looking book. Mm-hmm. Tim Drake Red Robin forms the Teen Titans team to protect teenage heroes from a villain named Harvest and his organization Nowhere, which is spelled the way you think it is, but there's periods in between all the letters, who have been kidnapping them and experimenting on them and enslaving the ones that they liked the best. During this first arc, which is called The Culling, it has the Teen Titans meeting the Legion of Superheroes, and this begins their crossover crazy storylines. During the Batman event Death of the Family, Batgirl, Red Hood, and the Joker appear in the main Teen Titans title because basically they have Red Robin and they have Robin who are in leadership roles at the Teen Titans, and you have Batgirl who shows up periodically. So when you're doing when you're doing a Batman event, you can't not have everybody just show up at Titans Tower because... The coolest thing about this event, really, is that Scott Lobdell created a character named Bunker.
Yes, I was going to bring that up.
Who's the first LGBT member of the Teen Titans, and it's kind of the thing that has come to define...
The New 52 Titans. Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to say about Bunker?
No.
Pretty cool.
Bunker's based on a real person, though. That's really cool.
Oh, that is cool.
I got to meet the real Bunker at a WonderCon. Yeah.
DC Comics, if you make that action figure, I will buy it.
Yeah, I like Bunker's design.
I do.
I do hope that Bunker doesn't disappear like some of the Dan Jurgens characters, because I like Bunker a lot.
I do too, and if I was going to relaunch them, I'd make Bunker the leader.
It is the best thing about the New 52 run.
Definitely.
Is Bunker.
Definitely. And there is a short-lived spin-off series titled The Ravengers that also launched in 2011, and it featured Beast Boy, who is now Red. Don't worry about it too much. Evil Terra and Caitlin Fairchild from Gen 13.
Yep.
They are all in leadership roles.
But the series is completely forgettable.
And it doesn't last very long,
matter.
so don't worry about it.
It's kind of terrible.
But I think that folding the Gen 13 characters into the Teen Titans is an interesting move, a really, really interesting move. When Will Pfeiffer took over writing the Teen Titans, he relaunched it with a #1 issue, and the character behaviors remain the same to where they had begun the New 52, except the Ravager spinoff series is completely ignored and swept under the rug, never to be addressed again. The most important thing is that Beast Boy does become green again, so we're all happy about that. And an African-American character named Power Girl is added to the team roster.
Now, that was the interesting idea, was adding the new Power Girl, because Power Woman was this character in the New 52 from Earth 2. She's the Earth 2 Supergirl. She had been lost on the New 52 world, but she finally went back to their world, and as soon as they did that, they introduced Power Girl. The other thing that's interesting about that book is something that I completely forgot.
Cool. So then there's an event called Convergence where all of the various worlds in the DC universe converge on each other. And there was a title that was really popular in that called Titans Hunt. And what Titans Hunt did is it took a bunch of your classic...
Well, Titans Hunt was the aftermath.
It spun out of...
I'm sorry.
Out of Convergence.
Apologies.
It spun out of the Titans title in Convergence.
Yes, correct.
I'm sorry that I didn't word that properly. It highlights a bunch of the classic new Teen Titans characters, including White Wally West. And it launched the next evolution of the Teen Titans original characters into DC Rebirth, basically, which is a seminal move in bringing Caucasian Wally West back to life in the main DC continuity, because in Flash Annual #3, they introduced the African-American Wally West. And the introduction of Caucasian classic Wally West may or may not have something to do with why everyone's brains are reset. And the current DC Rebirth Titans title is awesome. I like it a lot. But that's where we're going to stop, because we don't like to talk about stuff that's being published right now.
Yes, and also right on top of us is also Teen Titans Rebirth, which is the Damian Wayne led team that's going to have Raven and Beast Boy and stuff like that. And it's written by Benjamin Percy, and John Boy Myers is the artist. I do remember the thing before we skip out of the New 52. You mentioned that Beast Boy was red.
Yes.
Do you know why he was red?
Beast Boy was red because there's these things in the DC universe that unite the elements.
Yeah.
And there's the green, which you see focused a lot on in Swamp Thing.
Plants.
And the red, which is an Animal Man thing, sort of, is what unites animals. So that's why he was red.
Yeah, so they decided to unite the theme and make him red. I think it's a mistake, but I understand why they did it.
I think it is, logically, it is not a bad idea, but when your 30-year-old character has been green, just leave him green.
Yep.
It's okay.
Cool, and that ends the comic book history of Teen Titans.
We
set you up. And by the way, Teen Titans, Titans Hunt, great miniseries.
Totally, and you can get it now. So why don't we roll right into recommended reading?
Cool. Not going to talk about the cartoons. We're just going to skip on by.
We are, because like I said, the events of the first cartoon series basically mimic everything up to and including the Judas Contract and the new Teen Titans.
Fair enough.
And then Teen Titans Go doesn't have an overarching narrative.
That's right. All right, cool. So right into recommended reading, where, guys, you can go to geekhistorylesson.com/recommended reading. Everything that we're going to suggest here will be there. You can click on it. It'll take you to Amazon. You can buy that book. You can get all this Teen Titans goodness right in your face. And every dollar you spend over there helps support the Mind University. So there you go. So you get a comic book, and we get to talk through the electricity that is funded by that.
Yes. So my first recommendation has to be the New Teen Titans Volume 1 by Marv Wolfman and George Perez. It is, for me, the seminal and the ultimate Teen Titans team. It epitomizes what is important about these characters. You get just enough overarching narrative for the time period that you don't feel like you're reading a bunch of one-offs. And yes, it is a different style, but it is not too wordy that it is difficult to get through. I would highly recommend
Can I ask you a question?
Picking it up.
Is this the omnibus or is this the soft cover?
This is the soft cover.
Great. The soft covers look awesome.
They do. They look very nice.
Yep.
And then I'm going to recommend an omnibus second.
Okay, cool.
The Teen Titans by Jeff Johns omnibus. This is a newer omnibus. It just came out not too long ago. But because Jeff Johns' run is much shorter, you can get it all in one omnibus. The Wolfman Perez stuff is like 3 omnibi.
Yeah, the Jeff Johns run's like 50 issues.
Yeah, so you get everything from the second best Teen Titans team all in one collection. It looks absolutely beautiful. There are a couple different artists in there because they include a lot of pinup and covers that you don't see featured in some of the older stuff. You got Tim Drake in charge. Check it out. It is a good marriage of 2 generations of Teen Titans. And then the third thing that I want to recommend you pick up is the JLA Titanus Technus Imperative that we talked about earlier with Phil Jimenez and Devin Grayson working on it, because this launches a whole new era for the Titans. You get a really great sense of why legacy characters are important, and it is a self-contained, really fun story.
Cool.
Do you want to add anything?
Well, I was going to say, if you have a little bit of money left over after that, I would go pick up the new trade of Titans Hunt. I think it's a fun read, and I think if you just have a cursory knowledge of the DC universe, you could totally read it, because it's all about these characters remembering that they used to be on a team called Teen Titans.
Yeah.
But nobody in the world remembers that they were on that team.
So you can reacquaint yourself along with them.
Yep.
All right, why don't we have a discussion?
Yay, discussion time.
So I have 2 really short questions and then 1 deeper question.
Well, let's see if I have 2 really short answers and 1 really deep answer.
You can answer at your leisure. I want to know, do you think that you have to have a Robin leading the Teen Titans team for it to be effective?
Yes.
And then, I knew it was going to be short. And then I want to ask you, who do you think is the Robin best suited to lead the Teen Titans team?
Dick Grayson.
Can you show your work and tell me why?
No, carry the 3 and it equals 7.
And it equals Dick Grayson.
The Robin that is best equipped. Dick Grayson is the best equipped. Dick Grayson all around, just as a character, not even for the Teen Titans, is the best equipped Robin to lead any team. Mm-hmm. The rest of the Robins are too much of individuals.
Interesting.
And even your lovely Tim Drake. Mm-hmm. Tim is more like Batman than he cares to admit.
He is. I think he's the most like Batman.
Batman can lead people, but he's a terrible team leader.
Yeah.
Jason Todd's a crazy man.
Yeah.
And Damian Wayne wants to lead the team like Ra's al Ghul, which is a mistake.
Yeah.
Dick Grayson can immediately lead any group of people, like boom, like do it. And we've seen that in many books, and you've seen that in many events where, you would have the combination of his Titans team and Tim Drake's Titans team, and then he would just take over as field commander, and boom, they all followed him.
Yeah.
And he's also led the Justice League. I don't know. It's just Dick Grayson's character. Also, you have to look at this. He is the only Robin of the Robins that has constantly been searching for a family. Because and if you look back at his character, you can think about it. Okay, he had a mother and a father, right? He knew them until he was 12, 13-ish, whatever you want to take. They were killed, but that was not the only family that he lost in that day. He grew up in a circus. A giant circus. He's a carny.
Yep.
That's a giant community. He lost that. And I think if you look at his journey, it's been him creating this new family circus for him that is the superhero community.
I like that. That's really lovely.
Yeah.
So my final question to you, it requires you to think back to last week's episode.
Do you agree with me? I'm sorry. Do you think it's Tim or you think it's Dick?
I think it's Dick.
Yeah.
I do. I think I always hold Tim up as objectively the best Robin. I think Dick is the most successful Robin, but I mean, if someone has led the Justice League, I don't think you can argue with their effectiveness as a leader. I mean, really. So, yeah, I think so.
He's done it twice.
Yes, but I think Tim got short-shifted.
I agree with you.
But that's just my
Go ahead. And your deeper question.
My deeper question again requires you to think back to last week's episode. We talked a lot about how the original Teen Titans launched in 1964. They used all this slang and they made all these pop culture references because it was really important for them to reach this new, younger comic book audience. And I feel like even though Teen Titans has really turned around since Convergence, that it does not connect with a younger generation of audience. I feel like the people who are reading Teen Titans are you and me and people who are buying all the comics anyway. So I want to know, what do you think a writer has to do with that team in order to make younger people connect to them? Because my immediate answer is that, and I at the time of this recording have not read Teen Titans: The Rebirth, the Damian Wayne team, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Titans, but I think you have to the thing that is most successful about the new Teen Titans and Jeff Johns' Teen Titans run is that even though they do all the cool superheroic things that we all aspire to do but can't, they're essentially soap operas at their core.
Yeah.
All the characters have issues with their appearance. They have issues with their families. They date each other and they break up. And I think that is something that really got lost in the New 52. And they kind of tried to play them up as a mini Justice League. And I think on that level, they don't seem like teenagers anymore.
Well, that's what a lot of Jeff Johns' run is them basically being a mini Justice League.
But you do have like you do have a lot of interpersonal relationships.
Yeah, here and there, but not much.
Still not as beloved as the new Teen Titans.
Sure.
But I mean, I don't think you have to make necessarily pop culture. I don't need to see Tim or Damien walking around playing Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
But I would like to see more of the interpersonal stuff developed as much as their adventuring that they're going on. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts?
I do. I have a lot of thoughts. The only way you're going to get non-comic book fans to care about the Teen Titans again is that you have to shake it up. You have to. I think we are at the period. Like, I love Raven. I love Beast Boy. I love Cyborg. I love all those characters. They haven't had a great story since the Jeff Johns run or the Marv Wolfman story.
Yeah, which ended in 2008.
Yeah. I think they're better served being part of Dick Grayson's Titans so that team is together. I think if you really want to get somebody to care about Teen Titans that doesn't care about comic books, you put a Robin on that team. I don't care what Robin it is, Damian Wayne, sure. And then you relaunch it with brand new characters. Brand new. Now, here's what you do. You do not just make them boring superheroes. You need to push the boundaries and you need to go for broke. We need a Muslim girl. We need a Hispanic boy. We need everything, an ex-terrorist, an ex-member of ISIS who is now a member.
A transgendered character.
A transgender, thank you. Every other member besides Robin, because you put Robin on there because people think Robin is on the Teen Titans and people will be like, oh, Robin. He's our superhero factor.
He's your linchpin, yeah.
Every other hero that's on this team needs to be tied to a social issue that exists right now.
I love that.
And
everyone's going to call them the social justice warriors.
Whatever. And then you make the book, you make all the missions about these kids wanting to change the world. Because what is one thing that adults always tell kids? Like, yes, we tell kids that, like, oh, you're going to grow up and you're going to be special and you can change the world. But as people get older, especially in your mid-20s, early 30s, what's the one thing you learn? You can't change the world. You can't do it. So you stop trying to change the world. So you need to give the fire of changing the world to this book. These kids need to jump into the middle of Syria and try to rescue all the women and the refugees. You need to make this the biggest publicity grab book that deals with more real world issues, because these are the kids. These are the kids that don't know better. They're teenagers.
They have no sense of danger yet.
They have no sense of danger, and they have no sense of, you can't go in there and poke the beehive because the bees will sting you. They don't know that. And that's what that book needs to be.
Interesting. I would read the expletive out of that book.
It needs to be your punk rock, because they're teenagers.
Yeah.
They're forgive all. They're stupid kids.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm going to apologize on behalf of Jason.
I'm sorry. But you take risk and you do stupid things because you're a teenager.
Yeah.
And that's what that book is.
That's cool.
That's how you're going to get people outside of comic books to care. As long as you keep it Raven, Beast Boy, and Cyborg, great characters, but they are such a part of the Dick Grayson team now that's all you're gonna show to people. I
think it's interesting that they found a really good place for Cyborg. I think putting Cyborg on the Justice League was an excellent choice.
It's an inspired choice.
Totally. But I feel like Raven and Starfire and Beast Boy are a little bit lost for a home right now.
Yeah, they don't really fit, do they?
I mean, I would stick Raven on Justice League Dark, but it doesn't exist right now.
I'm telling you right now. You put Dick Grayson together with his Titans members, and you call it the Outsiders. They graduate to the Outsiders.
Great.
Yeah.
You made me want to read all those things.
Boom.
All right, shall we move on?
Yes, and to the last part of our podcast, the teaching tweet, where Ashley, in 140 characters or less, will sum up all of the Teen Titans history. This should be quite a feat. All right, here we go.
I just pasted all the lyrics to the Teen Titans theme song in until I ran out of characters.
Okay, so read to us. I don't want to say read to us How far we get in 140 characters?
When there's trouble, you know who to call. Teen Titans from their tower. They can see it. AL.
Oh, so you got the all.
Well, not all of the all.
You got all.
All. Thank you.
Do you know the whole theme song?
Yes. If you stick around for extra...
Oh, you're going to sing it?
I'll sing it all.
Oh, my God. That's worth $5 right now.
So there you go.
That completes our lesson.
To donate.
That completes our lesson on Teen Titans, correct, Professor?
Yes, it does.
Well done on a very in-depth two-parter. I know you have been waiting 126 episodes for us to cover Teen Titans, and we have these linchpin episodes like Fantastic Four. Legion of Superheroes is still out there.
Oh, man.
We have not touched Legion of Superheroes yet.
Or Justice League.
Or X-Men.
Yeah. Or Avengers.
Or Avengers. So, like, this is one of the big ones. Real quick, was there anything that surprised you?
Yes. I was surprised by a lot of the publication history stuff.
Okay.
I was surprised that in the beginning that, like, we really made light of it, but that all the DC... I don't know if it was other writers or execs, but people in the building were like, this is really dumb, guys.
This is a dumb book.
You know, and I don't know what it was like in the 60s, man, but he'd be like, well, it's not for you. Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Also, because it did turn into this very seminal DC team, I think it's so interesting that it took all this ribbing at the beginning.
Yeah.
I think the Dan Jurgens stuff and him coming up against as many creative blockades as he did is fascinating. And I think... it's just so baffled.
I'm going to read that run. I know about that run, but I've never read it.
It's solid.
Yeah.
It is very solid. I'm just baffled by the fact that people didn't like Jeff John's Teen Titans run because it's my favorite thing he's ever written.
Well, right now it seems beloved.
It is. I think it has done a lot better
After.
since. Because
I bought the single issues of that run.
Maybe because we're not just coming off that Young Justice series, and I don't know if that was particularly beloved. I don't remember it being.
It was.
But I think it's interesting that the criticism of like literally growing these characters up a little bit hit that book so hard.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, and that will close it up. That will close up all of Teen Titans Tower, even though it's not really enclosing because the whole tower is made of windows. You can see inside. I mean, you can see all the teenagers doing, stuff. Anyways, go find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. And please go over to iTunes and leave us a review. Don't be a teenager. Or if you're a teenager, then be an awesome teenager and leave us a hateful or a good review. However you feel as a teenager. I'm sorry, teenagers earlier. I'm trying to sell a book to you guys. I'm just trying to, Ashley, if they want to suggest a lesson, and if you wouldn't mind, let's give a quick shout out to everybody that suggested all of the Teen Titans episodes because they helped us conquer this big two-part episode. They did, and they have literally been asking for this for years. So thank you so much to John Bobry, Ray Vitale, Kyle Rayner, still not convinced it's your real name, Andy Hash, Cade Ivan McClellan, the Tamar, Cameron Miller, Jonathan Adkins, and Alexis N. Bowen. Thank you for helping one of my dreams come true. Sweet. And if they want to be like those awesome people and suggest future lessons, where should they go? They can go to facebook.com/geekhistorylesson or geekhistorylesson.com. There's a bunch of different ways to hit us up for lessons there. Come complain to me about my thoughts on teenagers at Jawiin on Twitter, Jawiin, and find Ashley V. Robinson on Twitter as well. And go complain or give her a pat on the back. Go give her a pat on the back this week. Seriously. Aww. Go get a little... I don't know what the emoticon for pat on the back is. You can just send me that really weird gif of Beast Boy hugging Raven and she freaks out. There you go. Go find that gif and send it to Ashley at Ashley V. Robinson on Twitter. Guys, thank you so much for listening to this awesome podcast. We have a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with this lesson. I did. I hope you didn't mind that I jumped in a lot on yours, but I know this stuff. You got to the point where I knew about it. I like it when you jump in. It feels more like a conversation. Cool. Well, I am Jason Beast Boy's Not Read Anymore Inman. I am Ashley Victoria Robinson. And Professor Robinson. Please close up the Titans Tower as we say goodbye to the Titans. Teen Titans, Team Titans, and just plain Titans. Class is now dismissed.